Hey, welcome back, everybody. Good Sunday. Hopefully, we had a wonderful week out there. And we've got a couple things to talk about this morning or afternoon, depending on when you're watching this. A couple kind of areas of disturbed weather. One just off the coast of the southeast, another area of some troughing kind of building out west. And that'll be one of multiple rounds of storm systems that kind of start out west and could bring some pretty widespread impacts to you folks. Also, watching some tropical trouble on down the road, potentially down into the Caribbean, that could try to maybe work its way up towards the United States in that 7 to 10 day time frame. So a good bit to discuss here definitely today as we take a look at that forecast. Now, if you're new here and you haven't already subscribed, definitely do so. Like the video, comment, let me know where you're watching from. And yeah, I think that's really all. I will add, if my voice is a little hoarse today, I was at a football game last night and got very loud and rowdy. So that's probably, a little bit at fault for that. So either way, though, I don't think it's too bad. It shouldn't impact the normal, plans here, normal operations. So with that said, though, let's go ahead and jump right into the forecast because, again, I do want to go ahead and get you on your way this Sunday. And we can go ahead and start by looking at satellite imagery. Recently, we've started looking at the main Atlantic basin, but today we're going to start over the continental United States here because most of the active weather we're seeing, really all of the active weather we're seeing right now, is basically at home or very close to home. We don't really have much tropical trouble in the main development region that has really any shot of impacting anybody. So again, we'll save the tropics actually for the end of the video today. In a way, it's kind of going to be the beginning and the end, but you'll see what I mean as you watch along. But again, current satellite imagery, the big area we're watching is this little kind of flare up of some shower and storm activity just off the coast of South Carolina and North Carolina this morning, trying to begin to rotate a little bit here along this stationary front. And sorry, the map just updated there, but again, trying to get its act together a little bit. This is not really a tropical system; it's more of a subtropical system. Again, it's attached to some fronts here, but either way, whether this gets the name Helene, which would be the next name on the list here, or if it just stays kind of this disorganized shower and storm blob, we're going to see impacts nonetheless. So we'll take a look at those impacts for sure. Now, outside of that, another thing to note here is out west, we do have a big time trough dipping on through. I guess I could have drew it a little bit better here. Here's that trough again, dipping back down towards California. That's bringing much cooler than average air, as well as enough diffluence and divergence here to lead to some low pressure formation here out near the Rockies. That's going to bring some shower and even potentially some mountain snow. And I'm really looking at some big time mountain snow totals here in that 7 to 10 day time frame. And again, we'll look at those totals here later on. But just know that is on the way, and that could also lead to some severe weather here through portions of the Great Plains before all is said and done over the next week or two. Now, current radar imagery over the lower 48, things are kind of active depending on where you're at. We do still have some showers and storms kind of working on through Alabama, Mississippi, back through the Memphis area, up through kind of the very far south eastern portion there of Missouri. So again, some shower activity there. That's been a common theme over the past couple of days as the remnants of Francine, or whatever is left of Francine, if we even want to call it that, kind of continues to spin away there. Also off the Carolina coastline, again, a lot of rain working, just offshore for you folks. So that will move inland here eventually. Probably within the next day or two, really seeing the brunt of that precipitation move on through. We do have some shower and storm activity down through the Rio Grande here through southern Texas. We actually had a kind of remnant low from a tropical system in the Pacific that worked across Mexico and is leading to some of that kind of enhanced rainfall back down towards that way. So most of the active weather here, obviously through the southern part of the country, up through the north, high pressure has really dominated the pattern for the past week. And because of that, we have not seen much in the way of active weather. Now, current watches, warnings, and advisories over the southeast. We do have some flood watches up, some new areas to talk about here, back through Horry County, South Carolina, Marion County, here through Columbus County, North Carolina, even into Brunswick County there through the Wilmington area. Definitely under the gun for a little bit of flooding potential throughout the next week or two, not next week or two, through probably the next week or so, but specifically the next couple of days as the system works inland. Again, gonna really bump up those rain chances, and this is an area that was hit hard by Debbie. So, not too long ago, the rivers, creeks, and streams are still not necessarily low, still relatively full here. So it's not going to take much to cause problems here, and that's why we have that new area up for you folks. Also still dealing with some flooding back towards the Florida Panhandle down through southern Alabama and extreme southwestern Georgia here down through Dothan, even the Panama City Beach area. So dealing with some flooding that way. Outside of that, if we zoom out here and look at the country, yeah, not much ongoing. A couple winter weather advisories back out to the Sierra Nevadas. But again, I do expect that this map will kind of fill in a little bit over the next week as we get some more active areas that kind of build on through. Now, let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit here and take a look at the tropics in the sense, again, we're going to really zoom in specifically on this area off the southeast coastline. And again, this is what I mean. The videos can kind of be the tropics at the front half and the end, kind of not really. But again, we're watching this area and you'll notice we do have some deep convection firing up. And we even saw that on radar, some of this rain showing up from our Charleston and Wilmington radar sites. And again, even some pretty good kind of lightning firing here with this kind of area of convection here on the eastern side of what would be the center of circulation. Again, it's kind of, somewhere in here-ish. Again, this is more of a subtropical kind of sloppy system. A slop tropical, if you will, here just off the southeast coast. So not, necessarily a very organized system by any means. But again, it doesn't need to be organized to bring rainfall impacts, which is something we're going to see no matter what out of it. And again, eventually going to kind of pull either this direction or this direction. Exactly which way it goes is still up for interpretation through the models a little bit, which is obviously going to play a big role in the forecast. But we'll show you the differences between the models here basically right now, I guess. So speaking of that, yeah, let's go ahead and dive in to some of this model guidance and kind of take a look at what we've got. And a new model is running literally right now. So I'm gonna go ahead and refresh the page and get us that latest guidance. So again, this is hot off the press, just ran. Let's get this into this afternoon. Again, still widespread scattered showers and widespread scatter. That's kind of an oxymoron, but widespread showers and scattered showers, depending on where you're at, I guess. Here through portions of the southeast, really anybody through the Carolinas, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, Arkansas, you got the shot at some rain today. And definitely you're going to want to have that umbrella or rain jacket for any plans that you have. Now, we get through kind of the afternoon and evening hours. Again, still widespread rainfall. It's at this point, though, that our area just off the southeast coastline really begins to mature a little bit and start moving inland overnight tonight and into tomorrow. Again, though, also still watching this enhanced area of showers back towards Mississippi, Arkansas, and portions of western Tennessee and southern Missouri there through the Ozarks. We get through tonight, though, again, and into tomorrow morning, waking up for our Monday. Plenty of rainfall working on in through the Carolina coastline. Again, whatever this system is, whether it has a name or not, making what we'll call landfall here Monday afternoon with that heaviest axis of rain. And this model, the high resolution rapid refresh, kind of tightens that core a little bit. Probably would even see some gusty winds and just a little bit of coastal surge here, kind of in some areas that are maybe a little more prone to it, depending on the track. With a track like this, definitely a place like Cherry Grove, South Carolina, could definitely see some higher, we'll call it surge or coastal flooding, whatever you want to call it, but nothing that we haven't seen before, nothing we can't deal with, definitely. But nonetheless, that's a big axis of rainfall. And look at this. We get into Monday afternoon and evening. This is, an almost tropical-like looking system moving into the Carolinas. And that's a lot of rain falling here up the, Highway 74 corridor there from Wilmington up through Charlotte, back up through the Raleigh area. Also, I wouldn't completely rule out, if we get a setup like this, maybe a couple of strong to severe storms here out through southeastern North Carolina there through the southern Outer Banks and back towards the Wilmington area. And as much as I would love to chase that, unfortunately, I have a physics exam tomorrow evening, so that one's off the table. But again, this moves inland, bringing a little bit of some gusty winds, plenty of rainfall. And then, by the time we're waking up Tuesday, the center of this thing's almost over Charlotte. So it's something that I think is probably going to sneak up on a lot of people, honestly, including myself, because the models have just been so back and forth on it that whenever we do finally get a final solution here, and I'm going to show you another model here in a second, it's kind of a different story as well. But another thing I will mention, tomorrow afternoon, it's still raining back towards Arkansas, Mississippi, Louisiana. So that axis of rainfall slowly shifting off towards the west there a little bit. But again, still seeing scattered showers there, scattered showers through Florida. I think a nicer day through probably Georgia and Alabama tomorrow than we've seen the past couple. And then obviously this big system in the Carolinas, even bringing rain up into Virginia for our Tuesday morning. All right, I'm going to zoom out a little bit here and take a look at some global models because I haven't talked about it a lot, but you folks in the Northeast, the Ohio River Valley, yeah, you could get rain out of this too. This might not just be a Carolina problem. So here we go, latest GFS. This is for tomorrow early morning. So earlier on the GFS here, this is about 2 in the morning getting, again, what we'll call landfall. So the storm will have all day today over the water and then the early morning hours of tomorrow to kind of try to get as strong as it can before, again, the GFS agrees with her I just showed you, brings us right up into the Myrtle Beach and Georgetown area of South Carolina, brings that heavy axis of rain, and basically does the same track as the GFS. It's just about 6 hours or so ahead of time, maybe even 12 hours quicker than the high resolution rapid refresh model. So again, you'll notice that moves inland, and then by the time we get to Tuesday afternoon, this big area of just, enhanced spin, if you will, is continuing to bring scattered showers here through the mid-Atlantic, the Ohio River Valley, back down through the southeast, still seeing those showers. And then even kind of spreading up into the northeast by the time we get to the middle of this week. And then watch what happens. This tries to reform another low pressure off the northeast coastline, and we get another storm system that kind of tries to develop there and then works out to sea. So also for everything happening to the west, you see, we're going to talk about that, don't worry, but just kind of focusing on this storm system right now. Again, it could be an active one through the next week. That's the GFS. We'll take a look at the European model or other global model, and a little bit different here. This is Monday afternoon, you'll notice. At this point, the other two models have brought this thing ashore. The European, not quite. It's still kind of hanging around and meandering off the coastline, and then finally brings it inland Tuesday afternoon, a whole day later, maybe even a day and a half later than the other models, and also further east up through kind of the Wilmington, Jacksonville area of North Carolina, and then brings us right up the mid-Atlantic for our overnight Tuesday and into Wednesday afternoon here, bringing widespread scattered showers here through the mid-Atlantic and southern New England and through portions of the Northeast. And then another low pressure, just like the GFS, kind of forms off the coast of New England here, although much further offshore later this work week. So, the models, and then again, showers continue all through the weekend, but the model's still struggling to grasp on exactly what's going to happen here. And we see this often with this sort of setup just because the center has not formed yet for this storm. In fact, it may never really truly form like a defined center, which can make it difficult to predict the exact track it takes as well as the speed of that track. So let's take a look at some rainfall totals here. This is the latest GFS, and it paints a very rainy picture. In fact, this is the Myrtle Beach area. That's half a foot of rain, even more than that potentially through this coming week. And again, most of this falling within probably the next 48 hours or so. But then brings a big plume of probably 3 to 6 inches of rain through much of North Carolina, even the Charlotte area, kind of eastbound there up through southern Virginia, seeing some heavy rain, and then lighter rain totals would still rain back through West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. So that's a GFS. We take a look at the European. Everything's kind of shifted east and north a little bit with that heaviest axis of rain there. Again, probably 3 to 5 inches of rain up through the Raleigh area into Virginia, and then even up portions of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, getting some good rain out of this as well. So the model's still struggling to really get a defined kind of idea down with this storm system. So something we're going to need to continue to monitor here over the next little bit. All right, let's zoom out a little bit and take a look at the week ahead here nationally and talk about some of those other impacts I'm watching. And this is the big story, I think, this week outside of the southeast storm system. This is Monday to Tuesday. We've got a big time trough, again, dipping out west. This is bringing much cooler than average weather. Also, going to probably pop off a couple areas of low pressure because we got one trough there, then another trough right behind it by the middle of the week, and then potentially another trough after that going into this weekend. So the theme this week is going to be cool and wet out west, wet and probably warmer in the east in a way, and I'll talk about that exactly here in a second. But again, we've got that storm system in the southeast. That's going to keep things pretty moist. But also, we've got this big-time ridge that has really built over the region and has stayed locked in for a while now. So you folks up into southern Canada, the Great Lakes, the Northeast, it has been clear, and it has been above average in the temperature department, all things considered, for September standards, while us in the southeast, it's been a little bit cooler due to that cloud cover, but also probably a little bit more muggy and humid. So again, it's a tale of multiple stories here, and it's going to just depend exactly where you're at on what you can expect in that forecast. But talking about the west a little bit more here, we'll move this ahead again. This is also the latest model guidance. This afternoon, widespread showers and even some probably storms forming here through much of the Rockies, down through the Four Corners as that trough builds on in and creates that divergence aloft and convergence at the surface. But notice this as well. This is, this afternoon, This is tomorrow afternoon now. Again, widespread scattered showers, and we've got pretty stout monsoonal flow here through the four corners. So any of these storms, you're going to want to watch for heavy rainfall, some lightning. Unfortunately, that could really spark some forest fires here and wildfires. Also, though, it could lead to some strong winds, maybe a couple damaging storms here. And look at that mountain snow back through the Sierra Nevadas, a little bit of blue showing up there to start the week. And by the time we get to Tuesday morning, a big time just area of precipitation, through these mountainous regions begins to unfold as that trough really begins to work its magic here. And we'll move this through the rest of the week here. This continues. This is Tuesday afternoon. And then into Wednesday afternoon, we've still got, rounds of rain through portions of the west. And then the middle and end of the week, more storm systems try to work on through and get into the Great Plains. So that's something we're going to watch for sure here. And if I zoom this out even more and just show it to you, let me back this up just a little bit here. So this is Tuesday afternoon and Tuesday evening. Again, we've got this area of disturbed weather in the east that we talked about, that area of low pressure, but also a pretty impressive storm system getting going out into the Rockies and bringing that tail end down into the Great Plains. We could see some severe weather out of this through Texas, western portions of Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, and kind of just here into the foothills of the Rockies. Again, would not be surprised to see that bring some strong to severe storms for the middle of the week. And then after that, we get a bit of let me see if I can find it here. Yeah, there we go. More of those troughs dip on through the west. And look at this. This is probably the first big time winter storm of the year, I would say, for the lower 48. This is a week from now. Again, strong low pressure over the Dakotas bringing some storms. Another area behind it through the Rockies bringing some big time mountain snow, probably the first big totals of the year, I would say. And then that kind of works on through here as well. It looks like a pretty active period. So talking about severe weather first, severe weather ingredients again, I think Tuesday night, Tuesday afternoon could see some of those ingredients firing up here through portions of the Great Plains. We'll need to watch that for a severe weather threat. And that could linger through the week as more of these storm systems work on through. Again, you notice the severe weather ingredients kind of just hang out kind of on and off through the next 10 days or so back out into the Great Plains. Speaking of that snow, look at some of these totals. These are impressive back through Wyoming. I mean, half a foot to a foot of snow. We're getting towards that time of the year, but this is much more widespread snowfall through much of the Rockies here. Again, those mountaintops really going to start to turn white here, especially even up through portions of Saskatchewan and Alberta, those mountains through British Columbia. Seeing pretty impressive snowfall totals here throughout the next 10 days. So a sign of things to come. Again, you got all this cold air dumping out west. It was bound to bring some snow eventually. And also it's just going to bring some cooler temperatures in general out west. Let's move this ahead. This is Tuesday afternoon and into Wednesday. But look at these below average temperatures out west, below average temperatures in the southeast, although not as below average. And again, due to different storm systems, but nonetheless, storm systems bringing those temperatures down. But in the middle and up to the north, above average temperatures through the Dakotas, Minnesota, the Great Lakes, up through the northeast, much of southern Canada. And I think that's going to be a theme here for a while. The east, again, it's going to be a little bit more close to average due to that kind of tropical moisture moving upwards. But the plains, above average temperatures. Southern Canada, the Great Lakes above average temperatures, and then below average temperatures out west. And that's a theme that just holds on for a while here, all the way through the next 10 days, it looks like. All right, now let's talk about the tropics a little bit more here, and then I'll let you go on this Sunday. This is Tropical Storm Gordon, and my oh my, what a mess. Again, here's the center of the storm, and you're probably wondering, well, isn't the center back here? And nope, this is the center. Some big-time shear is kind of fighting this storm here, and Gordon, unfortunately for him, is a shell of himself. But the good news for us is Gordon's not going to really impact anybody and likely not really get much stronger, at least in the next 7 days. Again, notice the cone kind of just kills it here over the Atlantic. After that, the conditions could become maybe a little bit more favorable, but by that point, it'll be so far out to sea and really nobody's business. So good news there for Gordon and the rest of us who don't want to deal with them. So just figured I would mention that. All right, now there is one area I am watching here in the tropics that could bring some impacts here over the next 7 to 10 days, specifically, I think, through the Caribbean, the Southwest Atlantic, and potentially into the southeastern United States here. This is the latest GFS model for basically 6 days from now. This is Saturday afternoon of next week, and notice we do have a little bit of some lower pressure out here, as well as kind of a bigger shield of some rainfall forming, which, could definitely be a sign of development And then we move this ahead, and you'll notice the GFS does try to spin up a low pressure system within the next 7 to 10 days over portions of Jamaica, Cuba, and then tries to pull this northward up through the Bahamas. And then after that, I guess I can show you as well, just out of full transparency, rather. You'll notice. Let's see if we can find it. Here we go. Yeah, all that moisture does pull northward, and that low pressure continues to kind of try to get its act together and get somewhat close to the Carolinas in about 10 days. So again, it's far out there, but there is a little bit of ensemble support for it here. The latest GFS ensembles, you will notice there is at least a signal here. Not a very big one, but one worth noting and worth monitoring here, as this could definitely lead to some sort of development here again in the 7 to 10 day time frame. But I think through the next 7 days, really no formation out of this. And then if we look at the European and its ensemble members, if I can pull the map up, you'll notice, again, a much weaker signal, but there is something there to note. So we'll definitely monitor it for you. Alrighty, well, that's all I got for you on this Sunday. Hopefully y'all enjoyed the video. If you did, again, please subscribe if you haven't already. Like the video, share it with somebody you think might find it interesting, and have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and I'll see you all tomorrow.